Good evening and welcome to TMC Division 2 here for round number 14 at what seems to be a very sunny side, Italy, where we have Monza for the most iconic track on the calendar. Such a fast track and one of the fastest on the calendar. So at the moment the drivers are going to be setting their initial qualifying laps. All ranging tyres, I believe, people will be going out on between the supers, the softs and the mediums. It'll be interesting to see what tyre choices people go out for and if there is going to be any weather affecting the race. I'm going to have a little look at our championship standings for this division. But as we know already, I'm Low Key is on a storming charge in that McLaren. At the moment he is storming away with the championship, and can anybody stop him really? So we're just going to have a quick we'll get on a driver that's going on a lap. We'll keep on with Wesker, his teammate of Scuba. I believe he's not here, always been promoted to or left or but he is running solo at the moment in Mercedes, but we will see what can be done for the rest of the drivers, as Merck W07 sets the quickest time at the moment, 1:19.9. that is on a set of super softs as well, with Bertie coming in second, 20.2. Then we have Joseph. He had a fantastic race last time out in Belgium. He got my driver of the day and he did very well there. Unlucky not to get a podium, and with ILRT, or now ILRT Matter, was EVR but now ILRT, getting that podium due to penalties. So at the moment most of the drivers are out on the set of supers, with the exception of ILRT Lewis, ILRT Matter, Ali, who's just come into the pits, and then Sam, who is on a set of softs. But Yarman has retired from, the only driver that has retired from the session at the moment is Yarman. Oh, massive slide there from Afri. He's already set the quickest time of 1:19.8 off a set 3 on provisional pole, just in front of Merck, and he is retired already from this qualifying session, losing the rear coming out of the first Lesmos, and that is game over for the Red Bull driver. Where will he start? Who will know? Will any drivers be able to get a quicker time than that? We'll soon to see, and depending on tyre strategy for the rest, we'll see what they can do. But we're on board with ILRT Lewis. He looks like he's coming across the line to finish a lap. It was a very slow 1:28.5, so he has probably got a lot more pace to bring out on those mediums as he locks up into the first chicane. As I was saying, I'll quickly run through the order. I was trying to get it up, and yeah, so I'm Low-Key is storming away at the moment in that McLaren with 216 points ahead of the Ferrari of Birdie with 140. Then you have Yarman, who is not going to be qualifying. He's going to be starting at the very back in this one, as Lewis locks up going into the second chicane and probably gets a corner cutting warning and will have to bail out of this lap. But sure, it might be an improvement on that 28, but it's not looking quick at the moment. He's being knocked down the order as his ILRT teammate of Matter goes 8th with a 1:24.1. Should be able to find a lot more time. It's just wearing in those mediums, as they are the hardest compound here. So yeah, Yarman is in third with 95 points. Then we have ILRT Matter on 86 in that Williams. Dark Bolt in 5th, Wesker 6th, Paulie 7th, Afri 8th, Dekeeper 9th, and then would be Sam in 10th. So McLaren are storming away with the constructors as well, with Low-Key's fantastic run of form. He is leading the way with 241 is McLaren, and then Ferrari with 156. But it's very close between Ferrari and Haas at the moment. We only set 5 points separating them two for second place at the moment. So as these drivers are setting their laps, we're going to ride them all with Wesker as he comes into the first chicane. Got a curve, basically mainly on the entry, and then get a nice exit towards the first sector split. He hasn't set a lap yet. We'll see what he can do. Hopefully he should be looking at either the low 120s or even get into those high 1 minute 19s, as there's a yellow in sector 1 and 2, probably just for slow and dry drivers, letting by drivers on laps at the moment. So we'll keep him all west as he comes into Ascari. It's very difficult, the Ascari, on this game. It's very easy to corner cut, but it's also your traction on the exit of the first half is also very key. You could lose the rear and lose a load of time, or even just end up in the wall. As it comes through Parabolica to round off this lap, should be good unless you got an invalidation, but it comes towards the line. Where does this put Wesker? It puts him pole with a 119.5 with 9 minutes and a half to go in this session. He is in the mid 1 minute 19s with Dark Bolt, who was at the back, is now in second after he went provisional pole but then got knocked down by Wesker. So we'll see if I can get through as much action as I can. Mercer looks like he's coming to start a lap, so we'll keep on him when he comes towards the end. Bertie is on a lap, no, he's on a cool down lap. Race driver is on a lap, so he's just set that as well. Yeah, he did indeed, I think, a 121.0. He might be going for another one. He is on hot lap mode, so we'll see if we can catch a driver at the end of the runs. We seem to be getting them at the start more than the end. Loki is just coming out of the pits yet to set a time. Steve G coming through the first sector as well, and Ali, the only driver other than Lewis on a set of soft. So we're right on board with him as he comes towards Ascari for his essentially first flyer, and we'll see what he can do. Nice and entry. Fifth gear is the gear you want to be going into Ascari. Anything lower, and because of the overspeed, you'll end up just losing the rear, and that can be game over. So he comes towards Paragraph as Bertie goes fastest, very close to the top to Wesker with a 195, but it's only separated by 12 hundredths of a second. And where does Ali go? Ali goes 10th with a 121.1, 18 hundredths away from getting 9th, separated by very close between Sam and Ali. But yeah, because of Afri's incident, he's already dropped down to a 5th. As Dartbolt, Merck improves as well, up to a 119.6. That's 3rd. So we can catch a driver at the end of their lap. Joseph, after a fantastic run last time out, he's coming towards the end. Sam's already through Ascari, so we'll keep him involved with the solo Renault at the moment. Can he get a little bit of a tow from the car in front? Will Joseph behind get a tow as well? So see if he can improve. He's already set a bank of a 121.1. Can he improve as he comes towards the line? This is looking good at the moment. It is an improvement for Sam, a 119.6. A hell of an improvement from the Renault driver. Where does Joseph go? He's gone up to 7th with a 120.0. Let's see if we can, D-Keeper's coming around the final corner across the line. Is an improvement. It is indeed, and he goes pole for the moment with the 119.5. Excellent stuff from all of these drivers, just pipping each other by 100th of a second each time. Very close between D-Keeper, Bertie and Wesker, all within less than half a tenth, a quarter of a tenth even separates these. We'll see if anybody can knock those at the moment. Merck's on a slow down lap. I believe Sam will be on a slow down lap as well, as he's very low on fuel. See if we can catch a driver towards the end. We will. We're right on with ILIT Lewis coming through Ascari on those softs. Already on. It's set. His fastest was set on the softs. 120.8. Can he improve with another fastest lap? He's very low on fuel, so he might bail out if there's no improvement to be as he comes through Parabolica. Very wide on the exit, trying to push as quickly as he can. Is out of EOS and he bails into the bits. doesn't want to be running around with low fuel. Paulie is on an in lap, and everyone else, Digkeeper, is on a lap. So can he improve? But he's very low on fuel. I'm sure this will probably be a bailout lap. It will indeed, because he's already way past any chance of improving. Dark Ball is on a flyer, so we'll keep on board with Dark Ball as the only driver out on track at the moment on a flyer in that Toro Rosso. Coming out towards the first Lesmos. You've got to keep that apex nice and tight and try not to run too wide on exit. Now into the second Lesmos, and nice and cleanly through. That runs very wide onto the curb but doesn't lose any traction. DRS wide open down this back straight towards Ascari. What can he do? Can he improve? He's currently in 6th. The top 6 are basically separated by 2/10 at the moment. Can he improve? Can he get anywhere inside that top 10? Top 5 should I say. Now towards Parabolica. Nice and clean through there. Doesn't run wide. It does actually run quite wide, but I don't know whether that's invalidation. Across the line. Isn't it improvement? It is indeed a 1:19.3. These drivers are just getting quicker and quicker. All of them, indeed, are getting quicker and quicker. We might even see a 1:18 from some of these drivers if they can get that time out of their tyres. But at the moment, Dark Bolt is on provisional pole with 4 minutes to go. We're going to see drivers start to come out of the pits within the next couple of minutes for their final runs. We have Sam on an outlap at the moment, along with a race driver. Steve is out on a lap. He's about to start one, so he's going to be, I think he's going to be the first to cross the line. He will do. So we're riding on with Steve in that pink Force India to start his fly lap. He's yet to set a time, and so is our championship leader of I'm No Key. Very interesting to see what those drivers can do. Can they knock anywhere inside the top 5? They've got to get into the mid 1:19 to do so. So we'll keep on board with Steve WG at the moment, up towards the second chicane, towards the end of the middle sector. Nicely through there. Now towards Lesmore 1. Does he run wide? He keeps it away from that curve. Very sensible. Do Lesmo 2. A little bit of curb, but not taking much advantage of that curbing on the left hand side. But now towards Ascari. Nice and harsh on the brakes. He's gone into 6th, into 5th. Very late, but he did run a little bit. He's run wide there as well. So will this be an improvement, or will he just have to bail and go for another run? If this was an invalidated lap and he does have another set of tyres, I would bail into the pits, get a fresh set, and then go for one more run rather than run down some worn tyres. So it comes through Parabolica around the final corner. Now, it could be a quick time. It might be in the 1:20s. It is, and it's a 1:20.6. Puts him inside the top 10 at the moment. Who was there was race drivers coming through Parabolica now. He was on a flyer and he's bailed into the pits, probably for an invalidation, or probably just doesn't want to improve. His fastest time is on the set of supers, so he might have enough time to get in and back out. His teammate is just starting a flyer as well, so Steve is on another flyer. He's down by a 10th, so I don't know whether he'll be able to ban that time. But we're right on board with race driver's teammate of Merck W07, currently sitting inside the top 5. He is away from being on the front row of the grid, but he needs to find 3/10 if he wants to get onto pole position. Nicely through the second chicane, round the first Lesmo. It's got a car in front of the Williams. I'm not too sure which Williams that is. I believe it will be, it's not Matter because he's retired. It's starting at the back. It might be Ali, whether he's on an outlap as well. So he sensibly gets out of the way, probably gives Merck a little bit of slipstream, but through Ascari he goes. This is going to be his final run as well. It's very low on fuel, so this has got to be it for Merck. Can he improve? Can he get onto the front or second row of the grid? Rounds the final corner of Parabolica. Will it be an improvement? It looks very quick indeed. Oh, he bails into the pits. It might have been a lap invalidation, or it could have just been low on fuel. We'll see if we can catch another driver. Wesker is on a flyer. Where's Burt in respect to this? Near the first sector. So we're on with Wesker. He's currently inside the top 4 on the second row of the grid. He needs to make an improvement if he wants to be on the front row. He needs to find very little time, but it needs to be enough to try and secure that front row position. He's going very slowly. He must have had an invalidation through his sky, so he's going to have one more wrong. There's 25 seconds left on the clock for qualifying. It's going to be Wesker's final chance at this. Where's Sam? He crossed the line and he is 6th. It was an improvement, but invalidation, I believe. So he's got one more run. Joseph is coming through the second split. Race driver's down the back, so he's going to be our last driver. He's not going to have enough time. The race driver, I think, has left it too long. That is his best time. Qualifying is over for race driver. Steve is coming around the final corner. Does it make an improvement from 10th? It is an improvement, but it was an invalidation. Where's Lewis? Lewis is in the barrier. He's going to be starting outside the top 10. Ali comes round. Parabolica. He needs to improve to get inside the top 10. What does he do? It is an improvement, and he does go 10th. Knocks Steve out of the top 10. Where's Paulie? He's coming through second. Parabolica now runs very wide on the exit. What can he do? He needs to get inside the top 10. He does indeed. Goes 9th with a 120.2. Where's Joseph as he crosses the line? It's a very minuscule improvement, but it's still in 8th. Where's Sam? Oh, there's a sliding Toro Rosso in the back as D-Keeper goes pole with a 119.2. Just caught that on the screen, as I believe Dartbolt was the one sliding about in the back. So where does Sam go? Sam goes 3rd. Where does Dartbolt? He was the one sliding about. Don't know whether he'll be improving. I think that might be our last driver, as Lewis, yeah, he had a little bit of a disaster, I think, going through. I'm low key, doesn't complete his lap. So there is, I believe, our grid. What's Wesker is on a cooldown lap. Darkbolt doesn't improve. So there we have it then. There is our grid. The top 6 just separated by half a second. Fantastic stuff from these drivers. Our championship leader, I'm low key, starting at the back, along with Yarman, ILRT, Matter as well. So all those 3 all within a fight for the championship. Are starting toward the back. Can be very sensible in a sense, especially running in the run into turn 1. You've got to be very cautious going into the first chicane. So we'll see. We need Wesker to retire, and then we can get this race underway. There we have it then. So there we have our classification for qualifying. D-Keeper snatches pole away from Darkbolt, lining up the front row of the grid. Then we have Sam and Burt on row 2, Wesker and Merck on row 3, Afri and Joseph row 4, Pordy and Race Driver rounding out the top 10. All of those on super softs. Then we have Ali in 11th, Steve 12th, Lewis 13th, Matter 14th, I'm low-key 15th, and Yarman not setting a time in 16th. It'll be interesting to see the strategic call for the 5 or 6 drivers that are starting outside the top 10. More than likely, if I was there. Unless it's a wet start, it could be, as all drivers were going. Oh, it's a dry start, so all those drivers that are starting on the supers are going to have to do very well. Do some tyre management for the first stint, but everyone outside the top 10, I think sensibly you should be going for the one stop from the softs to, maybe if you can push the softs to the Supers, it is possible. We'll see if Merck can get back in, as he did leave the session. Hopefully he can get back in. I've seen drivers leave the session when loading in, and it just is curtains for them when trying to come back in, because their car has just disappeared and not on grid. Yeah, that car has disappeared of Merck's from 6th place. Very unlucky. This game is not great when it comes to people leaving sessions and then their cars just disappear off the grid and not able to rejoin. So D-Keeper will be starting on pole position. Let's have a quick look at tyre choices for the drivers outside top 10. D-Keeper, Darkbolt, Sam, Birdie, Wesker, Merck, would have been Merck, Afri, Joe, Pordy, race driver, all starting on the super softs, as they're qualified on them as well. So Ali is our first driver on the softs. Then you have Steve opting for a set of supers. Interesting call from Force India, going for a different strategy compared to the other drivers outside top 10. Then you have Lewis, Madder, I'm Loki and Yarman all on the softs. So no driver outside the top 10 has opted for the mediums. Maybe save that for their final stint, or if they can push the softs pretty far, they will be able to run onto the supers, if they have any left, that is, at the end. So I forecast a one stop from most of these drivers, especially those starting on the softs. It's going to be interesting to see when drivers pit for the super from the supers to the I would say mediums. If they can stretch those softs, say about 10 laps, they might be able to do an easy medium run, or try and get a soft one out of it. A soft one I think would be around, it'd be very tough, around lap 12 if you want to make those one stop on the supers to the softs, as Yarman gets disqualified from the formation level. We're coming to our grid stops now for these drivers. It's going to be, drivers are going to have to focus going into turn 1. It's very key. It's such a tight corner, and it's a very long straight to be running into turn 1. Drivers are going to have to be very careful. There could be damage. Who knows who's going to be out on top. What can Lewis and Mada and Loki doing at the back of the grid? What will our championship leader do from the back, as well as Yarman? So here we go then. We're waiting for the 5 red lights to come on now. Lights are out and we are away here at the Italian Grand Prix. Great start off the line from D-Keeper, and Darkbolt's now under pressure from the Renault of Sam going into turn 1. It might be 3 wide as D-Keeper tries to hold the inside, but has to do the outside for the exit of turn 2. So D-Keeper leads the way from Dartboard. Then we have Sam in 3rd, Wesker 4th, Burt 5th, as is side by side with Afri for 6th place, Joseph in 7th, 48th, race driver 9th, and I'm Lukey, all the way up into the top 10 at the moment. As Jarman seems to have got by Lewis further down the grid, but these guys are going to go side by side into the second chicane, and a little bit of a slide as he caught the gravel on exit for that Red Bull driver of Afri, but he's got through on our second place runner in the championship of Bertie. As they go single file through the second left. Oh, a little bit of a slide from what was it, Bertie on exit. So it needs to be, he's going to be under pressure from Joseph going into Ascari, but holds on to that position for the moment. It's going to be interesting to see. Oh, as the Ferrari's gone wide and into the barrier. He's very lucky not to have lost his wheel, but has he shot back onto the track? He has, and there's a Force India out of Steve, and there's a Bert's gone, and Pordy of the Haas. So absolute carnage coming on the exits of Ascari as we end lap 1 from D-Keeper, from Darkbolt, and Sam in 3rd. Darkbolt is a little bit behind. A safety car has been released. A virtual safety car is out for those 3 drivers that caused that massive incident going down towards Parabolica. 3 drivers already out, 12 remain. How long will this safety car last? It's going to help all the drivers that are starting inside the top 10 on a set of supers as it ends now. Back to green racing. Keeper gets a great launch from the safety car. He's already nearly pulled a second out to Dartbolt. It's very key on this track to get out of that 1 second window, and he's being under pressure, Dartbolt, from Sam. We have Wesker not too far behind either, as a little bit of a slide from all drivers on the exit of that corner. Sam, it looks like he's got the overtake done on Dartbolt, going into Ascari. Excellent stuff from the Renault driver. He's now up into second. What can he do from here? Can he chase down Keeper for the race win? A bit of a shout out to I'm Low Key. He's already up into 7th and now in the slipstream of his teammate. Got to keep an eye on all these times changing, because there could be a little bit of a battle, and see what they can do as they go into DRS is now enabled. Can I invite? No, I can't invite people. I've just been asked to see if I can invite ILRT Manor back into the lobby as he disconnected. I don't think he has another invite, but on the pause menu I haven't got the capability to do that, as his place is chopping and changing everywhere as race driver has got by I'm Low Key on those softs. So running stern between supers and softs at the moment. See what these drivers can do. I nearly had my TV going off. That's not going to be very good for any of these. But the closest battle at the moment is yellow in sector 1. Is that for Ali? Oh, why is there yellow in sector 1? The no drivers are in sector 1. As Alfred's up the inside of Wesker going into the sky. So the slipstream and DRS has worked very beneficial for the Red Bull driver, and is now up into the top 4 at the moment. But can he defend it? The gap has fallen away from the top 3 at the moment to 2.5 seconds. What can they do, as Keeper needs to try and push away from Sam, who's within that 1 second window, but then he's also bringing along Dartbolt as Sam sets the fastest lap of the race at the moment on those softs. How long can these guys push these softs at the moment, as there start to be a leading pack starting to come out compared to the chasing pack of Afri, Wesker, Joseph, and then race drivers got a train with him of Loki and Yarman. Any moves going into the second chicane? I don't think so. Very sensible, but Dartbolt is now right on the back. He wants to get that P2 back, and if he sticks within this DRS and slipstream zone, you might be able to get the advantage of that for the run into Ascari. But it doesn't get the greatest run through Lesmo 2. Will he be making any moves for P2? He just decides to hold back. I think what these drivers are going to be doing now, because they've managed to get a gap to the chasing pack from 4th down, we will see if they can manage their tyres. But we'll see if Sam can get a move on Keeper going into either turn 1 or maybe even Parabolico. Moves over, look like he's going to be making a move. As Mata, I believe he might have joined it and has left the session once again. We'll see if he can get back in. He's going to be trying all his best to get back into that Williams. He's already a load off the pace, but Sam looks like he might be making a move on Keeper into turn 1. He's been gifted the inside, but the only problem is if you're side by side going into the chicane, a lock-up, massive lock-up from the Renault driver, but he managed to get it stopped and gets it through. I think they're going to be side by side. I think Keeper might get it back, as they're going to be side by side going through this long right-hander. What could Dartbolt do? He might be sniffing a chance at the top spot today, but a lock-up from Sam again into the chicane, and has taken the lead of this race. A massive slide from Keeper. It might be vulnerable to Dartbolt behind, but because of the so powerfulness of the slip, massive slide from Keeper again. Those super softs are best, basically more worn than anything, and Dartbolt might have a chance here of taking away P2. But the slipstream, as I said, is so powerful, as well as DRS, that Keeper manages to keep that position as Mata gets himself back in the lobby. Can he be able to stay in this time? Hopefully get back in that Williams. He's a long way off the pace but might be able to just try and recover and try and salvage any points in this Grand Prix. So what can Sam do now is he's taking the lead. He's got the clean air, but he will be vulnerable to maybe an overtake from D-Keeper behind. What can Darkbolt do? He's just got the popcorn out and just looking to see what happens as the lead in front. Yellow in sector 1 once again. There might be just yellow flags just all over sector 1 at the moment, but Sam managed to hold on for the moment. The Yarman, I think, has made a move up the inside of Race Driver into the chicane. Powerfulness of Slipstream and DRS gets the move done, and probably the grip from those soft tyres, those fresh soft tyres, well, only 5.5 hours, they won't be feeling anywhere compared to Race Driver's super softs who had done a qualifying run on them. We'll see time he'll lose now compared to I'm low key behind. So that I'm low keys might be making a move on Race Driver, maybe going into the sky. He'll have the better run out. Oh, and there's a little bit of contact between I'm low key and Race Driver, and Race Driver's in the barrier. That contact has just forced him into the barrier, and I believe that'll be wing damage for him. But did low key get wing damage as well, as D-Keeper gets a 3-second time penalty going through the Scary? But he's still in second, is D-Keeper. He's holding off Darkbolt, but does low key have wing damage from that contact? He might have done now, as he ran very wide and had to cut the second half of the Scary, so he might have a little bit of wing damage, and that is still very effective on this track, especially with these fast corners. We'll see what he can do going round Parabolica. He goes very slowly, so he might need to make a wing change, but it's not going to help him. But Sam is going to have to go defensive into turn 1, and D-Keeper retakes the lead on the brakes into turn 1. And Darkbolt still just sitting back, watching this battle unfold. Doesn't probably want to get involved, because if he gets tangled up in it, that will damage his race. And if these two tangle with each other, he could get gifted a chance for the race victory. As Loki is in the pits, and so is Race Driver, both probably for wing changes. I'd say that'd be a racing incident if anything. Race Driver had a slide on the rear on the exit of Lesmo 1, and has ended up tapping the rear of Race Driver from Loki, and both had to pit for set mediums. So what can D-Keeping do now? I think it's going to be just to and fro from these drivers of taking the top spot at the moment. But when will any of these drivers pit? I think it'll be very key, either between whoever's in second, whoever's in third, probably tries to go for the undercut on any of these drivers. I'm not too sure where they'll come out, but all these drivers are very close, like from 9th all the way through until first. Is only separated by 15 seconds, so if he makes a pit stop from the lead, he will come out in 9th place. So here we go then, down into the first corner. Defensive from Sam, but maybe looking for an overtake as he locked up once again going into turn 1. What can they do now? Darkbolt still sitting back, probably getting a lot of heat. It's saving EOS a lot as well, as Sam is very low on it as well, trying to attack D-Keeper, and he's quite low on it as well. As Bertie needs a session. Oh yeah, he'd already retired from the Grand Prix on lap 1. So top 3 separated by a second. Anyone's game at the moment. Probably going to come down to pit stops, and then probably a battle will unfold in the second stint. But yeah, Sam's got to do some EOS saving, but Darkbolt sitting back quite comfortably and saving just EOS every place and not losing time. Whereas these drivers are pushing their EOS, and it's a bad run from Sam. He might be susceptible to an overtake into Parabolica from Darkbolt, but I think Darkbolt sensibly will probably not want to get involved. He's doing very well, is Darkbolt, and I think the driver that might be able to snatch victory here today. As Sam bails into the pits, he's had quite a few lockups into some corners, heavy braking corners, and is in the pits. He'll come out in 9th. I believe the time gap will get him out ahead of Mada, but behind Ali. Yep, and Westgate's in the pits as well. Both pit on for a set of mediums. So what will the leaders do to try and react to these pit stops? I think Joseph got overtaken by Yarman going to turn 1 as well. So those super soft runners all thinking about making their pit stops at the moment. I believe this lap will be the lap as Darkbolt gets himself a 3-second time penalty. What can they do? Going towards Ascari. As we know, Darkbolt's got a ton of EOS and he's taking advantage of it now, trying to go into hot lap into overtake mode. Shifts it down to low very early on, but obviously doesn't want to take too much overspeed going into Ascari. But we'll see what these drivers can do. I believe both drivers will go into the pits, but we battle between Red Bull and their sister team of Toro Rosso, and we'll probably see Afri might have to go for another lap. Due to how close he is compared to his teammate, he might have to be forced for another lap, so you don't want to double stack Red Bull. You could be on for a good hefty set of points here. Joseph is free to pit as his teammate pit ages ago as well. So yeah, both of these in the pits. Afri has to roll on for one more risky lap on those super softs. Joseph doesn't pit either, and he's still in the slipstream of Yarman. So where will D-Keeper and Dartbolt come out in respect to Sam? Sam's just coming through the final corner now onto the straight. Where will this put him? In respect to Dartbolt, as it comes out, the D-Keeper's out already. Will the overspeed of Sam get him in front of Dartbolt, or will the overcut work for Toro Rosso? But it's going to be side by side going into the chicane. Don't touch, boys, and Sam gets the position. He did lock up though, trying to be a heavy breaker into turn 1. So Sam keeps P2 at the moment. So as each driver is as it where they were before pit stops. Interesting, D-Keeper's come out on a set of softs. He thinks he can get those softs 17 laps. I did say around lap 10, between lap 10 and 12, and you might be able to push the softs. Now he's got to focus and try and get those tyre management to work. His pit stop crew have helped him off a lot, and because these two went side by side into turn 1, he's managed to pull away a little bit of a gap to the drivers behind, so that will help him a lot. He won't be under any pressure and he'll be able to nurse these softs quite comfortably without any pressure from behind. Does Afri is in. Joseph has gone out for another lap. He might be doing very well. He's probably going to do the one stop from supers to softs. So Afri is in as well, and he's on a set of softs. So here we're wanting to push those all the way to the end. Just reading the comments as well, and I think our Division 1 driver of Matt Tibbets is not very happy with the tyre choice of Dartbolt, as he's got the move on Afri basically where they were, but Afri's gained a lot of time on that in lap, and he's now right in this fight for a chance for a podium. Yeah, so some of the TMC drivers are not very happy with the strategic call from Toro Rosso, especially for Dartbolt. He's come out on a set of mediums, and they believe that they can go all the way on the softs. But to be fair, it all is going to come down to tyre wear at the end. The mediums will be better for tyre wear at the end, but at the moment, pace-wise, to try and pull away, D-Keeper is going to have the advantage, and so will Afri for now. Dartbolt will be battling with Sam for that position, but I'm not too sure whether they'll be able to keep up with D-Keeper, who's already pulling away and has already got a 3.5 second gap to Sam. So our final super soft runner is in of Joseph. He's going to take the strategic call and come out on a set of softs, I hope. Ali is in very early. Oh, a massive corner cut from Lewis there, locking the both brakes up going into turn 1, and had to take a diverted route across the corner, across those sausage curbs, and hopefully he hasn't got any damage, but the double lock up ain't going to help. Yeah, so his tyres are not feeling the greatest, is Lewis at the moment, but he needs to go at least 5 more laps if he wants to do the one stop onto the supers, or just pit now and go onto the mediums, because the mediums will be able to run to the end. But he's going to be susceptible to not gaining that many positions. But the closest battle at the moment is Afri and Dartbolt on those fresh softs. What can Afri do? Dartbolt is out of that 1 second window he needed to be behind Sam to get DRS. So it looks like it's going to be a move from Afri on Dark Bolt for currently P5, but it will be the final step on the podium. He takes the inside into Ascari. Will he have to late break? He does indeed. Smooths over to the racing line and gets that move completed. Excellent stuff from Red Bull. Now at the moment, it's going to be a Red Bull 1-3. But it could be susceptible to an overtake from Dark Bolt going into Parabolica. The slipstream for the Toro Rosso is there, but not there enough. Mada gets by Ali on those fresh mediums, but he's just come out of the pits. What can Dark Bolt do now? He knows he's on the harder compounded tyre, but he needs to realise that his tyres will come into his own at the end of the Grand Prix. Another lock-up from Sam going into turn 1. And he's brought himself back into this fight. Oh, massive slide from Dark Bolt on those mediums. Coming out of turn 2. Lost quite a bit of time. And falling back a little bit. What can Afri do now? He needs to start reeling in Sam in that Renault and maybe get a chance for P2. But can the alternate strategy from Yarman or Lewis gift them any chance of a podium? We'll have a little look to the gap from Yarman. He will come out. This could work actually for Yarman. He will come out in the battle between Afri and Wesker. No, so even Sam and Wesker. He'll come out there and he'll be on fresh tyres and could be on a chance for a podium. Lewis, a little bit further adrift after making that mistake, doesn't come into the pits at the moment. So we'll see what he can do. So what can Afri do now? He's on the back of Sam, going towards the start finish straight. Using a lot of ERS. He's very low. Needs to do some saving through the middle of the lap. But in the slipstream, DRS wide open. Won't be making any moves into turn 1, but he needs to focus now on saving ERS. What's Sam's ERS like? He's got plenty to defend if he was to come under attack from that charging bull of Afri. But currently they are the closest battle on track, although Mata is right on the back of Low-Key. So Low-Key on those old mediums, 7 lap old mediums, but Mata's on 12 lap old softs. Surprising to see he's able to push, and he's within that top 10 at the moment, but both he at least needs to make another pit stop, as I believe he started on those. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at pit stops. Yeah, Mata is the only driver other than the top 2 yet to make a pit stop. So yeah, as Mata's coming through Lesmo 2, Yarman and Lewis are already coming round to start the next lap. So Yarman has already started, but Lewis is about to start it himself. D-Keeper, the chasing driver of in that Red Bull, is starting to close in a little bit, but it is to realise he will take the lead when Lewis and Yarman pit. So he's already pulled out a gap, but Afri is going to go around the outside of Sam going into turn 1. He's going to have the inside for the second half and gets the move done. Fantastic stuff from the Red Bull driver, and at the moment it's going to be a Red Bull 1-2, but can Sam fight back? It's nearly wheel to wheel. It's going to be side by side going to the next chicane. Sam will have the inside, but with it being a chicane, it's going to be the inside for the second half for Afri, and Sam has to give up that position for now. Keep within that 1 second window, keep within slipstream, and you could be coming back into this towards the end. 12 laps to go, still a long way. We've just peaked the halfway stage and still a long way to go. But Sam now has got to make sure he doesn't get overtaken from Dark Bolt in that charging Toro Rosso behind. What could Joseph do as well on those fresher softs? He's down in 8th. He might be able to gain another position, but I think the two dark horses for even the win are going to be between Lewis and Yarman. Lewis maybe a chance for a podium, but Yarman could be on there for either race victory. But Sam is in the slipstream of Afri going into turn 1. He's low on ERS and low on fuel. It was just peaked to go low on fuel there, so he's going to have to do some fuel saving as well as ERS management. for the middle part of the lap, but because it's so quick, this track, you want to use your EOS and fuel as much as possible, but then that just leaves you needing to spend more time saving through the rest of the laps. So at the moment, only 3 drivers yet to make a pit stop of Yarman, Lewis and Mata. Battle unfolding for the final step on the podium between Sam and Darkbolt, but don't rule out Yarman yet. He could be one to watch in that Haas when he makes his pit stop. He needs to maybe one more lap, but does Darkbolt go for a lunge up the inside of Sam? He doesn't, into Ascari, and holds on for now. Does Sam on that final podium position, but he might be vulnerable going into Parabolica. But I think if I was Darkbolt, hold back, save your EOS, save your full fuel while you're in that slipstream, and you can get an opportunity going into turn 1 once again. So there we have it, our 2 leaders of Yarman and Lewis are in. That relinquishes the lead to D-Keeper as he retakes it after making his first pit stop. He's now back in the lead with Afri running in second. Sam in third at the moment, but it might be a late lunge from Darkbolt up the inside. Very audacious from the Toro Rosso driver, and nearly collects Sam going through the second half. But at the moment, Sam holds on for now. Will Darkbolt be looking to make a move going into the second chicane? He's going to have the inside, but will leave him the outside for the second half and gets the move done. Fantastic stuff from Darkbolt. He's now on the podium spot of third, and with only 2-second gap to Afri in front, might be able to chase him down as their tyres will start to fall away with 10 laps to go. 17 and 16 laps for the Red Bull drivers is a long way to go on those softs. You saw the 2 drivers of Yarman and Lewis managed to get those 15-16 laps. What can they do now? Yarman is within this, well within this chance for a podium. He's already right on the back of Wesker on those 8-lap-old mediums. But we'll keep him well with Sam as he might be looking for a move into Power Rock. He thinks better of it, wants to save himself with the DRS and the slipstream going down towards turn 1. That dirty air didn't help Sam. I had to make him run a little bit wider through Parabolica. But here we go then, down towards turn 1. Will Darkbolt cover the inside? No, he's going to cover the outside. It's better to have the outside because you have the inside for the second half. But I think Sam's going to have it. Late under the brakes, both drivers a little bit of a lock-up, leave each other space. Fantastic stuff from both these drivers. And who's going to come out on top? Sam takes the podium away for now. Nearly runs into the grass and would have lost the rear there if he had kept it full throttle. But very sensible from Sam. Got the move done, fantastic. Both drivers, very good stuff from each of them. And Sam retakes the podium position. But all this battling is gifting Afri a gap, and also drawing in Yarman, who's managed to get by Wesker already. Don't count out this Haas driver yet for a chance on the podium. He is going to be charging in that cockpit on those fresh super softs. He's going to be pumping in fastest lap after fastest lap to try and draw in Darkbolt and Sam. But a little bit running wide from Darkbolt on the exit of the Ascari. You can see just the speed and the slipstream from Yarman is already within that 1 second window to get DRS. One of these drivers is going to miss out on a chance in the top 4. Who is it going to be? As Sam goes defensive already, but you realistically want the outside. Yarman, there you go, sets the fastest lap, 121.8. It's absolutely flying on those fresh softs. Darkbolt thinks about a move up the inside into turn 1, but can he get a better exit? But now Yarman is in the picture for a chance of the podium. What will Darkbolt do? He's going to have the Haas all over his gearbox going up towards the second chicane. Does Darkbolt go defensive? He's already Darkbolt goes for the outside line, Yarman up the inside and gets a position done on those more grippier super soft tyres, and already up into 4th. It could be a simple stuff from Yarman getting past the Renault as well. But can Darkbolt take advantage on the fact that Yarman is going to be battling with Sam? But I think these guys are going to be side by side. I think Yarman's going to get that position way before the braking zone of the Ascari, and he does indeed. So Yarman on a charge with that alternate strategy, starting on the softs and going on to the mediums, has really benefited the Haas driver, starting at the back and has made the most positions for now. But it's going to be a battle for the 4th to the end. But what can these drivers behind do? I don't think Lewis is out of it yet. He's slightly starting to close in Wesker, and then he's got 3 seconds or so to this battle for 4th. Yeah, Sam is out of that 1 second window, so he's going to be defenceless going into turn 1 as Lewis sets the fastest lap. Lock up there from Sam once again going into the chicane. What can Darkbolt do? He needs to pounce at some point, but don't want to leave it too late. If he sticks within that 1 second window, probably save it for the last lap, because then it's going to be a last ditch move. But as you can see, Sam needs to do some fuel saving, whereas Darkbolt doesn't, and he has more EOS does Darkbolt. But Lewis is now right on the back of Wesker going into Lesmo 1, and no move's going to be made there, maybe not into Lesmo 2, but this is going to be crucial for Wesker. Which driver's going to have the better run? I think Lewis is going to get this every day of the week. Wesker takes the outside line going into the sky, but I think Lewis has got that job done way before the braking zone and is now now he's got to try and chase down his teammate of Darkbolt in 5th, who's currently behind and will be taking slipstream and DRS of Sam. So it's not going to be easy for Lewis. He does have those softer tyres, but he's going to have to try and get that time gained while Darkbolt is in the slipstream and DRS of Sam, as they've fallen away from Yarman, and Yarman is slowly starting to close in Afri. So that P2 is not set in stone yet for the that 1-2 is not set in stone yet for Red Bull at the moment. Can the Haas do anything about it, and will Lewis be able to drag in his teammate and get a chance for a top 4 finish? There's still plenty of laps to go for it to happen. Still anyone's game for essentially the final spot on the podium, but I think it's going to be anybody's game for the final spot of inside the top 4, where Sam is currently sitting. As Wesker has made a little bit of a mistake. He's lost 6/10 in that little split to Lewis, and Lewis has already gained that 6/10 on these two. He's managing to keep these two within a grasp, essentially, because they're getting slipstream and DRS and saving EOS as well. So I think Darkbolt is thinking save EOS, because we know Lewis behind is on a charge and he'll need that to defend, but he could also use it to attack Sam for 4th. Round power bottle, and they said something else then. Power bottle, they go into the slipstream as Sam's trying to break that slipstream from Darkbolt, but I don't think he's going to do enough. Darkbolt might have a move, late lunge up the inside, he moves to the inside, breaks late into turn 1, he's going to have the outside into turn 2, the wheel bang, the rear and front on the left and right side respectively, but Sam holds on for now. This little battling is not helping him out though, as Lewis is within that 1 second and on a charge, so both these drivers could just miss out themselves with their battling for 4th place. What could Lewis do? He's got to take advantage at some point. He did very well to do a charge on the alternate strategy last time out in Belgium. Can he do the same now and get himself a chance for the spot of P4? He's in the slipstream with his teammate Darkbolt. Will Darkbolt make it easy as he's in the slipstream of Sam? And up the inside goes Lewis. I don't think that he was going to fight that as Darkbolt. That is his teammate. But what Darkbolt now has to do is stick within that slipstream, stick within DRS range, as Lewis will be looking to pounce on Sam as well. And Lewis might be getting it done before even a chance for turn 1 up the inside towards Parabolica, late under the brakes, and I think he's got it stopped and done in time. So fantastic stuff. His alternate strategy from Yarman and Lewis has worked out a treat, and they have taken advantage of these drivers on mediums and now up into 4th. But a little bit of a battle going on for 2nd, and Yarman has gone up the inside. We knew that those softs were going to start feeling their way around this time of lap 12 laps on them, and Afri has lost that position to Yarman up the inside. Did Yarman go into the braking zone of turn 1, and that seems to be job done at the moment, because those softs are going to be always runs very wide into the gravel. Very lucky not to lose the rear, and losing time now. He might, I don't think he's going to lose enough time to lose that position to Lewis, but Lewis has 4 laps to go, 4 seconds. Can he take out a second a lap on Afri? Afri's tyres will probably be a little bit more worn, but those super softs are going to die off a little bit quicker, as their tyre life isn't as great compared to the softs. So considering Sam and Darkbolt were both on course for a spot on the podium, neither of them are going to be anywhere near 5th and 6th at the moment, but their battle probably going to go on. Who's going to take 5th place away? But we're going to keep on that time between Lewis and Afri. We'll see what Lewis can do, and it'll be a fantastic stuff from Lewis if he can get on the podium. 4 laps to go, still anybody's game, and Afri is sticking within that 1 second window of Yarman to try and keep Lewis at bay. The closest battle on track at the moment, I'm going to ride on board with it. It's been battle long, it's been a race battle all the way through. And I'm going to keep on board with it once again. Will Dartmoor go for a lunge up the inside into the second chicane? He does indeed, laid under the brakes, lays a little bit over the curb on the entry, but gets that move done. Fantastic stuff from the Toro Rosso driver, and takes away 5th from Renault for the time being, but he's just left himself vulnerable for an overtake either into the Scar or even on the next lap into turn 1. So we'll see what Sam can do. He's got plenty of EOS, he's done very well to save EOS, he's been saving fuel as well, probably why he's been losing time and lost that position. As Dartbolt gets himself, I believe that might be his second 3-second time penalty, but you can see all those drivers between Yarman and Samuel in 6th, all lining astern as we come down this back straight. And you can see Wesker and Joseph further behind as well. So we're going to keep on board with this. We'll keep an eye on Joseph as well, because it might be able to take away a spot in the top 7. So what will Sam do? Will he go for a lunge, or will he try and do what Dartbolt did and go into the second chicane? Dartbolt goes defensive, takes back the racing line and holds on to 5th for now. But that gap between Lewis and Afri is closing. It's under 2 seconds now with 3 laps to go. Though he's got to be very careful, as Afri. He's got those tyres are going to start to overheat substantially as well. But up into the second chicane, Sam doesn't want to go for the move this time around, as Darkbolt did, and he's got to keep nice and close with him, but try not to lose the rear either. They are very worn mediums, and way past their side, maybe even way past their sober eye. They will be in the next couple of laps. They've still got 2 more to do after this, so we'll see what they can do. What can Joseph do as well? He's in front of his teammate at the moment, and looks like he's just showing McLaren what he's capable of in the middle half of the season. He's right on the back of Wesker. Wesker's on 16 lap old mediums, and surprisingly those softs are doing pretty well for themselves. They're keeping within that 1 second of Wesker. But Lewis, we're going to move on to this. This is the most important one at the moment. Lewis is now nearly within that 1 second of Afri. Afri probably had a really bad run, maybe even through Ascaria, and maybe even through the Parabolica as well. But Lewis later under the brakes, closing and closing and closing in on that Red Bull, and might even lose Red Bull the chance of a double podium finish, as Mana gets by his teammate going into Parabolica, and that's a point after having a really bad start out of the session. He might be able to come away with a point. A 9 lap old softs, a long way to go, as Joseph is side by side with Wesker going into the second chicane, still side by side. I think Wesker's going to hang on to that. Joseph gets a 3-second time penalty. He did get forced wide there. The little bit of contact didn't help between those two, and Joseph is slapped with a 3-second time penalty for that corner cut. But we'll go back to the battle for the final spot on the podium. We'll keep an eye on that gap between Sam and Darkbolt as well. We'll see if Joseph can take advantage of further afield, but we'll see what Lewis can do in the slipstream of Afri, going towards Parabolica, Absolute stunning drive from Lewis after starting at the back of the grid. Will he be wanting to make a move as they start the last lap? D-Keep across the line to start the last lap. These guys start the last line to start the last lap. They're going to be side by side going towards turn 1. Lewis gets that move done way before with the overspeed and the slipstream DRS. Oh, but is outbraking himself going into turn 1. He's had to take the escape route, and that's probably give him a penalty. It does indeed, a 5-second stop-go penalty for that missing a braking point, and has cost himself a chance for a podium. It might even cost himself a chance for P4, but that's a podium out the window once again for Lewis. He did this last time out in Belgium, ended up locking up into one of the heavier braking zones. He did it into the bus stop for a chance on the podium and got himself a 5-second stop-go penalty. And now he's done the same again, but Lewis is going to be side by side. He's going to go around the outside into a Scoria to go, and he's got that move done. I don't think he's going to be able to get that podium position, but he might be trying to fight to hold on to P4. He's going to have to push now, but we're going to ride on board with D-Keeper. He's had an absolutely fantastic drive, this guy. He managed to get pole position and the race victory. So fantastic stuff for the Red Bull driver. But Yarman gets second place, and Lewis is going to cross the line in third, but won't be getting it as Alfie comes home with third because of that 5-second stop go. Sam gets fourth due to penalties, Lewis in fifth, Darkbolt in sixth, Wesker in seventh. No, Joseph gets seventh due to penalties, so he did manage to get that position. Loki, a very quiet drive from him after getting that damage at the start with race driver, gets ninth. Arlotti Matter, very quiet as well after being able to join the session, gets 10th, and his teammate is going to be outside the points along with race driver. So yeah, fantastic stuff from Yarman. I will give credit to Lewis for his charge through. Very unlucky to get a double lockup going into the chicane and having to take the escape route and then getting slapped with a 5-second stop-go penalty. I'm going to look through our driver's classification, and I'm going to give you my driver of the day. So there we have celebration for Red Bull as they get themselves a double podium. Fantastic stuff for them. Great drive from both drivers, and even Yarman, a credit to him as well for taking second place. So there we have our classification. D-Keeper gets first position ahead of Yarman, and then we have the other Red Bull in third. Sam, luckily enough, gets fourth due to penalties. Lewis, very unlucky to not get a podium out of that, in fifth. Then we have Darkbolt sixth, Joseph seventh, Wesker eighth, Loki ninth, Mala in 10th, and then Ali and Mestrover were our only other two finishes. But I think our driver of the day, I'm going to have to give it to Yarman. Fantastic drive from starting at the very back of the grid, doing the alternate strategy from softs to supers, and got himself a podium out of it. And not even just a podium, P2. Credit to Afri and Sam for those drivers not getting penalties, as well as Loki and Mada and his teammates. So Williams doing well not to get penalties, but only 1 point for Williams at the moment. And Loki down in 9th. So I'm going to close out this fantastic race we had. Battle all the way through between Sam and Darkbolt, and then the fighting charge between Yarman and Lewis on the alternate strategy was excellent to watch and commentate over. So I've been your commentator for this evening. I would like to thank you all for watching, and next week, I believe, if I am correct, it is going to be the Singapore Grand Prix, and that's a very difficult track, another street circuit where I think track position is very key. and we'll see what those drivers can do, tackle the streets and the nighttime race as well of Singapore. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next week. Goodbye.